Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun with Benzion. We're learning Yevamos Nun Gimel, Yevamos 53. I really think this is one of the best chidushim I've said on Yevamos, maybe on all of Shas. Um, it's hard to beat, right? It's like a lot of chidushim, but I even verified it with the son of a big rabbi. If you heard of Benzion, I believe he was a rabbi in what's that, OJ, I think, and also he's a rabbi in Mikdash Lamelech. I don't know exactly what that is. That's what I think he does presently. His son, he lives here at Benzion, and also his son is here. I told his son the Kiddush. He wasn't so familiar with the sugya, but he liked it. He heard what I said. This is really raid. You know what raid is? Raid is basically stuff they stay over in yeshivas. This is the acre. This is what they really talk Yevamos, Ksuvos here. Let's get right into it. The Gemara in Yevamos and Nun Gimel has a maskana, not a maskana. The Gemara has 5 different ways of explaining machlokas in Rebbe and the Rabbanan about whether if you did chalitza and then you did maimer, you try to do kiddushin afterwards, does it work or not? Does it work? Is it effective or not? Rebbe says technically it's not going to be effective, and the Rabbanan say no, it could work. So the Gemara, the final maskana, seemingly maskana, the last. Usually we go with Ravina. Ravina is the last sadr of the Gemara. Ravina or Rashi. So Ravina said he's the last opinion. Rashi gives the 4th opinion. Ravina gives the 5th opinion. He says the chuli alma yesh t'nai b'chalitza. Everybody holds there is t'nai b'chalitza. Meaning, what's the case we're talking about? Previously, we introduced this concept of t'nai b'chalitza. Rashi the Ramaska yesh t'nai b'chalitza shechalitz tam and ashi titin lo masayim zuz. He makes a deal with her. He says, "I'm going to do chalitza to you on condition that you give me some money." Right? She wants to be free. She wants to marry l'shuk. He says, "I'll give you some money. I'll give you 200." He says, "You give me $200. You give me $200 and it'll be a chalitza. That's it. The deal is done." So, right? So everybody also, Rav Ashi says a machlok. Rashi says a machlok in Rebbe and the Rabbanan whether there's a tanai b'chalitza or it's not a tanai b'chalitza. Rebbe holds, right, which is similarly the halacha, and tanai b'chalitza. You can't make a tanai b'chalitza. So you can't make a tanai b'chalitza. Your tanai is ineffective. So the chalitza takes effect with or without the tanai. This is effective. So therefore, chalitza removes all the zikas yibum. When you try to mekadesh her again with the zikas yibum, it doesn't work. Rabbanan hold no, a tanai would be effective, and now it's mitla tali v'kaya. It's awaiting the kiyum tanai. So she's not, the chalitza wasn't effective yet. So therefore, you can mekadesh her with zikas yibum. The chalitza didn't take effect yet. Then the Ravina says no. The chuli alma yesh t'nai. Everybody holds there is a tanai. The tanai would work over here, and it's mitla tali v'kaya. We're awaiting it. And what's the machlokas over here? The machlokas is tanai kafel come if you do need a tanai kafel or not. Rebbe would hold you need a tanai kafel, and therefore he wasn't kafel the tanai, so it's ineffective tanai. The Rabbanan hold you don't need a tanai kafel, and therefore it was an effective tanai, so therefore you could do zikas yibum. Problem is the maskana of the Gemara yesh t'nai b'chalitza according to everybody. How could that be? The Gemara and Ksuvos, this is really brought out more clearly in Tosos and Ksuvos on Daf Ayin Dalet. He asks the following question. He says the Gemara on Ksuvos Ayin Dalet says, brings up Brisa, Ayin Dalet and Aleph at the top, Chalitza mutas ksheira. Chalitza that was done by a mistake, meaning you tricked someone. Did a chalitza, basically the Gemara is going to explain, you did a t'nai. It's a ksheira. The Rabbi Yochanan explains, first Reish Lakish gives an opinion, Rabbi Yochanan gives a maskana, what is the case talking about? Rabbi Yochanan says, Kol she'omer Rabbi Yochanan, Kol she'omer lo cholitz lam and ashtitin lecha masayim zuz. Not that he said, I'm going to be cholitz you if you give me money. A third person said, he's working on behalf of this lady. He says she doesn't have any money. He says, she does have money, but the third person comes and says, be cholitz her, have rachmanis on her. He convinces the guy that she'll give you money. He doesn't want to do it himself. So a third person he's convincing. A third person says, she's going to give you money. She's a wealthy lady. She'll give you $200. You can do it in chalitza. So that's the case of chalitza mutar. So shera, there's no ain't t'nai, but chalitza, it doesn't work. The t'nai doesn't work. And the Gemara explains what's the reason the t'nai doesn't work. So the Gemara says, Kol t'nai v'hecha gamrin, b'nei Gad and Reuven. We learn all the concept of t'naim from Gad and Reuven. When they wanted to cross into Eretz Yisrael, they made t'naim. They said a stipulation, if we cross over in front of Klal Yisrael and fight for them, we're chalutzim with the pioneers, then we can go back and live in our yards. And if we don't, then we can't. So just like over there, it was t'nai de efshel kumei de shliach, yasam havi t'nai de efshel kumei de shliach, yasam havi t'nai. It has to be something that's efshel to do al de shliach. right? It has to be a situation where the person who's involved with the Tanai has the ability to appoint the Shliach. So Moshe Rabbeinu over there, when he was giving Eretz Yisrael, he was in charge of it. He was the Bailim of giving Eretz Yisrael. So we know that he didn't actually personally give it Eretz Yisrael. He made a Shliach. He made Yoshua his Shliach to give out Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, it was actually given a Shliach. So Tanai would work over there. The Tanai is binding over there, right? If they went, they got to live in Area Yarden. If they didn't go Chalutzim, they wouldn't get Area Yarden. But here, by Chalitza, the Gemara says Chalitza Mutas, he's not the Bailam over. Chalitza, you can't do like a Shliach. You can't say to another man, right, you're the brother, and say to another man, let the Yevama, the woman, remove your shoe and spin in front of your shoe. It doesn't work. It has to be you. To explain why, it's a different question, but it doesn't work like a Shliach. So therefore, the Tanai doesn't work also. And therefore, Chalitza Mutas, the Sheira, the Tanai is ineffective. And therefore, even the Tanai is not accomplished. She doesn't give him the Masayim Zu. She doesn't give him $200. The Chalitza is the good Chalitza. It's good Chalitza. So anyway, the Gemara over there. Tosas asks, Chalitza Mutas, it's Sheira. The Ein Tanai B'Chalitza. The Tanai is ineffective. How can the Gemara say is it effective? So answers over here, and he answers over here in Yevamos, and in Ksubas Ayin Dali, he explains it a little better. He says there's a chiluk. He says that it's like a Chalitza Psula. Chalitza Mutas Sheira, when he stipulates to give, she's going to give him money. Nu Chalitza and Kadisha gives him money, even though Ein Tanai B'Chalitza really it's ineffective. But it is like a Chalitza Psula in order to mati her to the shuk. It matters her to the shuk. Doesn't remove the Zika Zibum Lagamre. So therefore, the Zika Zibum Lagamre is still there. So therefore, you make Kaddish her with Zika Zibum, but it does mati her. It's Chalitza Psula in the fact that it would mati her to the shuk. It would mati her to marry somebody else. So it's a Chalitza in effect that it matters her to the shuk, but it doesn't remove the Zika Lagamre. So therefore, everyone holds you could be Makayish. It's only Machlokes whether it's Tanai Kafel, that's the Maskana according to Ravina. But if there's no problem with Tanai Kafel, it would be a good Tanai, and therefore it would leave the Zika. It would leave the Zika. So you could do Makayish or with Zika Sivmin. Rashi doesn't get into this. Rashi is not bothered by this. Doesn't talk about it. How do you answer Rashi over here? And maybe there's a different way of answering Tosas, which is maybe the sheet of Rashi. I like to say, this is a problem, I think, when people are not medayik in Gemaras. I mean, I don't know how people miss this diak, but first of all, the Gemara there doesn't say Chalitza Tanai. It calls it something else. It calls it Chalitza Mutas, right? A Chalitza was tricking, like you say, toes, right? You tricked her. When I give you a golden goblet and you don't give it to her, Kedushin, so is it whether Kedushin Tanai or not? But that's Chalitza Mutas. You're tricking her. Kedushin toes. Chalitza Mutas is tricking over. What's the case over there? The case is where not he makes the Tanai, not the Chole, it's not the brother, but someone else comes to him and convinces him and says, listen to her, if she gives you 200 zuz, you should agree to the chalitza. And he agrees to it, right? So it's not him who's stipulating. Here Rashi says carefully, the chalitza de Tanai is that the chalitza himself makes the Tanai. He says to the lady, if you give me, right, Masayim Zu, you give me $200, then I'll do chalitza. As opposed to the Gemara in Ksuva was talking about explicitly, Rabbi Yochanan says, it's talking about where a third person says that if she gives you, he says, if she gives you chalitza, if she gives you $200, then you should do the chalitza. He didn't make the stipulation himself. A third person made a stipulation. So it's very easy. It's very easy to distinguish between the two. Of course, Tosfos gives a whole hezber that the reason you can't make a Tanai if you can't appoint a shliach is because just like you're a bailam to appoint a shliach, you're in charge over here to appoint a shliach. If you can't appoint a shliach, you're not the bailam here, you can't make a Tanai. But no, here it's talking about even if you're not the bailam to make a shliach, right? But you are the bailam to make your Tanai. It is your chalitza. The ball's in his court. He can choose to give more chalitza. When he chooses to do chalitza, like Tanai, I have the ability to control my chalitza to make stipulations. This is my arena. I can say I'm only going to do a chalitza if you give me $200. The case in Gemara and Ksuas is a very different case, talking about where someone is coaxing him, is convincing him to try. And he says he makes it depend on the woman. He says, if the woman gives you money, will you agree to the chalitza? So he didn't initiate, he didn't make the Tanai in his own chalitza. Someone else worded it for him and made the Tanai of the woman giving it, contingent on the woman giving it, made a Tanai for him. That's where there's difference about making a shliach or not. Because if I can make a shliach, like Moshe giving to Yoshua, giving over the land of Israel, he can make a shliach Yoshua to give over the land. So therefore, it's not really Moshe Rabbeinu's court so much. He can make a shliach. So therefore, even if the Tanai is originating from, who did the Tanai originate from? Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven. It originated from them. They were the one that came to Moshe Rabbeinu. They wanted Yevamos Yard, and they said, if we'll go ahead, they initiated the Tanai. If I initiate the Tanai, that's not coming from Moshe Rabbeinu's court. So therefore, because he can make a shliach, so you see it's not in Moshe Rabbeinu's court. So therefore, someone else's Tanai, when they initiated it, is effective. So that's what the Gemara in Ksuba says, that by Chalitza, if he didn't initiate the Tanai, the Cholis didn't initiate the Tanai, and because he can't do anything Shliach, it is in his court, so therefore it's ineffective. But our case, we're talking about where the Cholis did initiate the Tanai. Chalitza called something different. Chalitza will take Tanai. Rashi says, he says, I'll do Chalitza Almanas to the woman. He initiates. I'll give Chalitza you in condition that you give me money. He initiates it. Of course he can do it. Even if he can't make a Shliach, it's for sure in his court that you can make stipulations. I think that's a simple explanation. Explain Rashi. I think it's a very good chiddush. It's very meduyuk in the Lashonas of the Gemara. And it's a very simple way of explaining the Gemara. I think it makes a lot of sense. Hope you enjoyed. See you in Mishnah Yomi.